waiting for me to get to my interview, right? So you can see this great interview I'm doing. Wait a minute, I gotta lock the door. I gotta get the keys in the hole. Hi, it's Barry Z from The Barry Z Show, live right here with Michael Cerveris from an incredible new show that I saw. New play, new musical, what do you want to call it?
We just call it Home. Fun
Home. Fun Home, right?
That's right.
And I'm at the dressing room right now of Michael Cerveris. Wow, what a great dressing room. You want to tell me a little bit about it?
Well, I like to make my dressing rooms kind of in the style of the show, or to keep the world of the show kind of going. So it's got kind of a 70s vibe, because a lot of our play takes place in the 70s. So I've got my vinyl turntable, my Partridge Family records, and
wow.
And the lava lamps that I didn't have to buy. I just got them out of storage. So,
really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
I'm a 70s kid.
You are, all the way, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, because we're going to interview you, and people are going to come see your show, right? Called Fun Home. Define the title for me.
Well, it's the family, the Bechtel family, ran a funeral home, which they, in the family, called the Fun Home. But the play is basically the story of Alison Bechtel, who grew up in Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania, in the 70s, and her. The story is the complicated relationship between her and her father. She came out as a lesbian woman to her family in college, and learned soon thereafter that her father had been a closeted gay man her whole life. And she hoped that it would be a way for them to kind of finally understand each other and connect. And sadly, he died tragically a few months later, and they never had that opportunity. So the book that she wrote, also titled Fun Home, is a graphic novel that she wrote sort of talking about those experiences and her life growing up with her dad. And the musical follows the same path and adds music to it.
This is fun at the funeral home.
Well, it's about as much fun as you can have in a funeral home, I guess.
And where is this funeral home?
It was in Beech Creek, Pennsylvania. And it's currently at Circle in the Square Theater.
Tell me about your role.
I play Bruce Bechtel, Alison's father, who was a closeted gay man who struggled with never really managed to actually be his authentic self, and struggled with the idea of being a father and living the idea of a family man. He was also an English teacher, a high school English teacher, and ran the family business, the funeral home. He also was his avocation was restoring homes, chiefly the home that the family grew up in, and he was meticulous about the details and about restoring the home, and kind of a genius in that way, but a sadly tortured genius.
Really? Wow. What kind of role research did you do for this?
Well, it's interesting. I tend to actually research much more than I did on this particular show. I've played a lot of historical characters, from Juan Perón to John Wilkes Booth, and I really have enjoyed doing a lot of research and getting a lot of detail and background. And in this case, because Bruce, while he was a real person, wasn't really a public figure per se, and most of the background material that exists is Alison's book. When I started rehearsal, I started to read the book and then put it aside for a little while. I returned to it later, but I felt like I wanted to kind of find Bruce's idea of himself and Bruce's version of himself, which wasn't really what Allison was after when she was writing the book. She was trying to tell the story objectively from her point of view. So I sort of put the book aside for a little while, tried to find my way intuitively into Bruce's version of himself and Bruce's idea of what life was like. And then, later returned to the book for more of the incredible detail that is there.
Did you speak to any of the family members?
Not initially. Really, Allison was around later in the process. She came to previews at the public and afterwards, and her brothers John and Christian also have come to see the show, and I've gotten to know them and spend time with them. But Allison very courageously just kind of handed over her book and her life to Jeanine Tesori and Lisa Kron and Sam Gold, who very lovingly kind of transferred it to the stage. So it's very faithful to Allison's book, and from the feedback that we get from her family and from a lot of people from Beech Creek who obviously knew the family and grew up with all of these people and have taken bus trips here to come see their history kind of displayed on stage. They've all remarked at how faithful and authentic and familiar it all seemed. So, and that feels great to feel like we really have done Allison and her family and the people who knew them justice.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Tell me about the music.
It's by Jeanine Tesori, and it's extraordinary music to sing. It's what I think was most remarkable, really. Lisa Kron had, while a gifted and talented and experienced playwright, had never written a musical before, and she and Jeanine found an extraordinary way of working together. Jeanine's musical skill set is sort of everything from pop and rock. I know her initially. She worked on Tommy and was one of the musical directors on Tommy, and I had known her for years.
I covered that show.
I remember. That's where we met. So she and I have known each other for a long time, but not as a composer at that time. But she's able to write so many different kinds of music, and has in so many shows in the past. But she matches the stylistic and melodic components to the characters and to the events and to what's going on. And Lisa has sort of written this seamless book and lyrics that end up with you feeling like sometimes you're sort of partway into a song, a verse and a chorus into a song, before you even realize that anybody's been singing. The book scenes seem to segue into music.
I got the cast album.
Oh, great. Well, good. Then you can enjoy it.
What songs do you sing in this?
Oh, I sing a lot of the the bigger group things, like the Come to the Fun Home, and well, actually I don't sing in that so much, but Raincoat of Love is this big sort of Partridge Family pastiche sort of number, or homage, and Bruce's sort of main song towards the end. There are a couple of things. There's Telephone Wire, which is about a car ride with Allison, and turns out to be the last car ride that they ever take together. And then Edges, which is Bruce's kind of, people have been referring to it as Bruce's turn. It's kind of, it's a moment, an imagined moment in Bruce's head shortly before he dies.
I'm going to stray away from the show right now just to ask you these questions. Is Michael Cerveris your real name?
Yes, it always has been, although it was originally, when my grandfather came over from Italy, it was Ceverizzo.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were born on November 6th, right? That's right. In Bethesda, Maryland, right? And went to Yale.
Yeah, a little bit happened in between there, but yeah, that's right.
That's amazing.
I grew up in West Virginia, though. I was born in Maryland, but moved from there when I was pretty little.
What about your head? Tell me about your head. Is that natural, or is the inside and the outside?
What's inside is very unnatural, but on the outside, it's completely natural.
Have you shaved your head all your life?
No. Well, I began with very little hair, but I grew hair as a small child and had.
Did you have hair in Tommy?
I did, and actually it was in Tommy because I was wearing the wig in Tommy, and my hair had started receding, and I was sort of struggling with what I would do about it. But because I was wearing the wig all the time, it didn't really matter what was underneath. So it was actually when I left the Broadway company and went to do the first European company of Tommy, I figured I'm just going to shave my head and I'll grow it back or I'll deal with it, when I finish this job. Well, that turned out to be a couple of years later, and I came back to New York and had been shaving my head for a couple of years at that point. And this was before Michael Stipe had started shaving his head, or Billy Corgan. It was before it was cool, and the first job I got after that was in Titanic, and Richard Jones, who directed it, also shaved his head and liked the idea of the visionary Thomas Andrews being played by somebody with no hair, even though actual Thomas Andrews had a full head of hair. But Richard liked that idea, and that was the first time I appeared on stage with my head shaved, and it kind of became my look and became
your trademark.
Yeah, and so now, but the nice thing is it makes it very easy for me to kind of transform myself by just putting somebody else's hair on.
I see. Is that a difficult thing for you to do, to find a toupee to fit?
There are highly trained professional people who take care of that for me.
Very nice. Tell me about your website. Is it American Journey?
Amazing Journey.
Amazing Journey.
Yeah, that was started by a fan and friend of mine, and who was extremely dedicated, Michelle Zeman, and she made this really wonderful website that collects a lot of articles and things. And then I have a separate website for my band, Loose Cattle, that is more devoted to just our musical stuff.
What is it, loosecattle.com?
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
Wow. Are you and Allison still friends? Because I remember she was in your band, wasn't she?
Allison.
Was it Allison? When I covered you at one of those nightclubs, Wetlands.
Oh, Alice Ripley.
Oh,
Alice Ripley. Yeah. We're great friends. I haven't seen her.
Sideshow.
Yes, and from Tommy initially. That's how we knew each other.
Wow.
Yeah, she and I and her husband then, Shannon, and my friend John Jinks. We had a band called Lame, and we used to run down after performances of Tommy to Chennai. Back in the days when Jeff Buckley was playing there, and we used to do shows, late at night on Saturdays and stuff. And I haven't seen Alice for a little bit, but we're absolutely friends.
You were a member of Bob Mould's band?
I played guitar for Bob Mould's touring band in '98, and it was one of the thrills of my life.
All right, I'm going to go quickly now, I promise. You have been described as an American singer, guitarist, icon, and actor. How do you feel about that description?
I'm perfectly happy with it.
It works, right?
Yeah, and I am American, so that works.
Italian American.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, and Scots Irish on my mom's side.
Wow. Now you've been in Stephen Sondheim's musicals, a couple of them: Assassin, Sweeney Todd, Roadshow, and Passion.
Yeah, I've really been lucky and gotten to do a lot of Steve's plays for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he remains kind of what I think of as sort of the highest expression of music theater. And the first Broadway show I ever saw was Sweeney Todd right upstairs in the.
You played in that too.
I did eventually, years later.
You're celebrating your 100th performance of Fun Home tonight. How does that feel?
It feels like it's happened remarkably fast. I mean, we feel like we've just kind of gotten here and gotten started.
You won 2 Tony Awards, one for Assassins and one for Home Alone. I mean, I almost said Home Alone. I meant Fun Home.
Home Alone the musical. That's the next step.
Yeah, I've interviewed Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah. That's a great idea to have him in the role. So how does it feel to win 2 Tony Awards, especially one for Fun Home, which is what you're in now?
It feels great. I think it was funny. The first one, I think, it was wonderful and exciting and totally unexpected. This one, to be honest, I really was not expecting either. I was delighted, but
I was yelling and screaming when I saw you on screen at the Tony Awards.
Anger and frustration, or
were you yes?
Okay, good.
Wow.
No, it was thrilling, and it was. I mean, I I admire all the other guys who are in the category as well, and so I would have been happy, for anybody. But I was very happy to be recognized.
Two diverse roles, right? Yeah. John Wilkes Booth and the father in Fun Home.
Yeah, both troubled and anguished and sort of maybe not the most appealing people that I've tried to, make an argument for some humanity.
You were also in Sweeney Todd, the vibrator play, Tommy, right? Where you made your stage debut.
That's right. Well, my Broadway debut.
Okay. Yeah. Romeo and Juliet, right? King Lear.
Yeah.
Love Music, Cymbeline, The Titanic, Hedwig.
Hedwig, yes. I was the first one after John, and I think I still hold the record for the most performances of Hedwig. So.
Wow. At the Jane Street Theater.
Jane Street and L.A. and London.
And Hetty Gabler, Evita just recently. No?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Sunday in the Park with George, Anyone Can Whistle, The Apple Tree, and in films like The Mexican, Cirque du Freak.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, that must have been an interesting one, right? Stakeland, Lulu on the, what is it?
On the bridge.
On the bridge, Lulu on the bridge. Did you jump?
No, I stayed ashore.
On TV in The Good Wife, and I saw you in that. Person of Interest, The Observer, American Idol, Glee, and Fringe, and Fame.
Well, yeah, some of the, like American Idol, I was never on Glee. American Idol, no. American Idol I was on as a promotional thing for Fringe. I did a lot of, I played this great character called September, the Observer on Fringe, and for promotional stuff they would send me out to things like that, or the NFC championship game, or the Texas Motor Speedway, and I would just sort of appear in these things. It was the greatest promotional thing in the world because I got to go do all these great events.
Two more things. Playboy called you the most versatile leading man on Broadway. Is that true?
I don't think it was maybe it was Playbill, but
Playgirl.
No,
Playboy, no.
I'll take credit for whatever is given me.
What does it mean when it's said that you're versatile?
Well, I mean, I guess they mean that. I hope that it means that I'm sort of surprising, and people don't know what to expect from one role to another. I like the idea that I sort of disappear in the things that I do, and I've had people tell me a couple times, even friends who've come to see this show, and who said, it was 20 minutes into the show before I realized that was you playing the father. And that, to me, is a great compliment. That's sort of what I learned the job was. So.
How do you feel about playing gay roles?
I don't really think about playing gay roles or straight roles or bad guys or good guys. Or I think of all the characters as fully complicated human beings, and that's how I try to approach them, and not sit in judgment of them or of the job, and argue their humanity.
Okay, two more questions and I'm done. Do you choose your roles or do they choose you?
Oh, I imagine it's a little bit of both, really. I mean, I am kind of picky about the projects that I get involved with, and I want them to be meaningful and have something positive to say. Whether my character is the most positive or not, I want the show to say something positive. And, but I've been really lucky about the things that have come my way, too.
Wow. And why did you take the role here not here, but why did you want to take the role in Fun Home?
Well, initially, my real interest was in doing something with Sam Gold, whose work I had seen in... I'd seen other shows that he had directed, Circle Mirror Transformation and The Aliens, and what was the other one that I loved so much? Circle Mirror, I don't know. There were a bunch of things of his that I had seen, dating back to his puppet stuff with Nick Jones, and I just wanted to work with him, and I knew Janine from years back, and Lisa's work, so it was really the chance to work on something with them. Then when I got to read the piece and the material, I was sold.
Any roles you wanted to play that you were never asked to play?
No, I'm not good strategizing that way. I'm sort of like, I like to see what kind of wanders my way, and I'm more interested in the people that I get to work with than the particular thing most of the time.
Is there one role you wanted to play?
I guess it would have been maybe Sweeney Todd, but I got to do it,
What about Barry Z?
I don't think that I have the skills. I don't know who would have the skills to possibly play Barry Z.
The world can see you, of course, on Broadway in Fun Home. And where else right now?
My band Loose Cattle is playing at Joe's Pub and other places around town over the next few months.
You do anything where you act, direct, and star?
I don't have any plans for it yet, but who knows?
Any new CDs?
Yeah, I'll have a CD called Piety out in the fall.
Does it naturally?
Okay. Hi, this is Bianca Kenna playing Annie Oakley.
This is Sean Kincaid playing Frank Butler.
We're currently in Annie Get Your Gun at the St. Jean's Players on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. You're watching Barry Z, and Barry Z knows how to do it naturally.
me about your role in this.
She's a woman.
First of all, tell me your name.
My name is Bianca. It's lovely to meet you.
Wow, it's an honor meeting you. You are fabulous.
Thank you very much, sir. She's a kind of a backwards sort of frayed lady from out in Dark County, and she stumbles upon a shooting contest with some of the hottest shots in the country, and she defeats Mr. Frank Butler and decides to join the show because she falls in love with him.
Although you miss a couple of shots.
Well,
Why?
at the very end,
Yes.
because Dolly Tate, his assistant, bent my guns.
What'd you do to your guns?
We cheated. We cheated. She bent the gun so the muzzle's not quite right. That's what she was doing with the pliers. So she can't win unless that's why I offer her my gun. I'm like, hey, let's give her a chance. Let's give her a chance.
You've got to save a man's pride.
You gotta save the man's pride by not hitting the target.
Absolutely. Apparently. In the show.
You have an accent. Where are you from?
I'm from Australia originally.
Oh, from Oz. You're from down under. We love Australia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a fun place. You should get out there.
How many times have you seen Annie Get Your Gun, the movie starring, what's her name?
Betty Hutton.
Betty Hutton, of course.
I've seen a couple of clips to try and get, but I tried to stay away from it, honestly. You know,
Why?
because it's kind of a tough thing to sort of to believe your circumstances when you're kind of thinking about someone else's portrayal within them. I'm gonna go home and watch it once the run's finished. Absolutely. I'll be bawling and watching the movie version.
You are incredible. What a voice both of you have. Is there a lot of chemistry here?
Well, we've been friends.
Yeah,
We've been friends since last year.
Yeah,
so
last year we did Brigadoon together. We did a show. We did Brigadoon here at this company together. So and then we got to play these roles together. And there's seriously no one else I'd rather do this with. She's absolutely phenomenal. She really is.
You fall in love with her before then?
Yes, every single night.
he's a sweetheart.
Wow, you're incredible. How do you manage to lose the accent, the Australian accent?
I actually had some dialect training, so that kind of helps with it. But it's just you kind of pick it up by ear, and we grow up with so much American media as well, you know. So yeah, I guess that's kind of it.
Tell me about your role. You are Annie Get Your Gun, the famous Annie Oakley, right? Tell me about her.
I think that at the beginning she's very confident in what she knows how to do, but her circumstances have been limited and enduring. And
What kind of background does she come from?
Well, the real Annie Oakley came from a lot of responsibility, you know. Her father was killed and she kind of had to pick up the bootstraps for the family and go out. And that's how she learned how to shoot so well. So
Hunting, yeah. She learned by hunting she was the youngest, wasn't she? No, okay, so her father passed away, and then so she had to learn to hunt to provide for the family, and then eventually she goes out and becomes a sharpshooting son of a gun kind of thing.
But in real life, it's funny. Frank Butler steps aside and lets her kind of take the lead, but in the show, you know, dramatic purposes and an amazing story, it kind of is reversed a little bit. So.
Not so much, right?
Not so much, yeah. In the actual story of Frank Butler and Annie Oakley, who were real people, which I think is fascinating.
So this is based upon a real life, true to life story.
Yes, these are real people. Annie Oakley was a real person. Frank Butler was a real person. Sitting Bull was a real person. Colonel Cody was a real person. Everyone was a real person. But in the actual show, in the actual life of them, he met Annie Oakley and was like, well, she's better than me. I'm going to be her manager. And he just quit show business pretty much right then and there. Not quit. They just started just working together right away. And he knew, he's like, she's better than me. Let's do this. It'll be worth it. So
And these fantastic songs were written by Irving Berlin.
the great Irving Berlin. Absolutely phenomenal. It was his birthday, actually, just the other day. You know that?
He's still alive to celebrate.
No, he's not. God rest his soul.
The last song he wrote, I think it was 1966, before he passed away, was Old Fashioned Wedding, which is now in the new version of the show. Had
tell
you
me-
seen the show before?
Oh, yeah. Tell me about, not this one, which is brilliant. I've seen the movie versions, the stage versions. In fact, I interviewed Reba McEntire, who played Annie Oakley. I've interviewed Susan Lucci and Bernadette Peters. They were all Annie Oakley. And Annie, Get Your Gun.
Yeah.
But you're the best Annie Oakley I've ever heard. Let me pick that up. I'm sorry. But you're the best Annie Oakley. One more time. But you're the best Annie Oakley that I've ever seen and heard. What a voice you have.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How many times did you watch the movie, or did you?
I didn't. No. No, I did not.
And the only movie version is the one with Betty Hutton.
That I'm I'm aware of. Maybe there's more, but I mean, there are definitely. I did watch some of the outtakes from Judy Garland's initial performance.
She did it, right?
Well, she was going to, and then she kind of that was her last film. I think it was with MGM. I'm not sure, but she got let go, unfortunately.
She never did the role in the movie. It was Betty Hutton.
Yes, sir.
Wow, what do you think of Betty Hutton?
I liked what I saw. I've only seen snippets of it because I didn't want to kind of get too much into my head about it. But she was great. She was she's got this physical comedy, which is incredible. You know.
Did you watch the movie 100 times to get into the role? The one with Betty Hutton, no?
No. I saw a couple of clips that were helpful, but no.
What about Ethel Merman? She was in this too, wasn't she?
She originated the role.
On Broadway.
Yes, sir. It was written for her.
Wow. Did you ever see her in it, or you were too young?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
What do you want to say before we go?
Thank you for coming.
Oh, my
Thank
God.
you.
This was the most incredible show I've ever seen. This should be on Broadway right now where it belongs.
Thank you, sir. No, seriously, everybody, please come check out Annie Get Your Gun. We got one more weekend this weekend, so please come check it out at St. Jean's Players. Thank you very much.
And what do you want to say?
I'm thank you. Ready to party.
How did you get the role?
I'd worked with this group before, and I knew Jay, the director. He's wonderful. I'd acted with him in the last production, and then the auditions just came up, and we auditioned, and yeah, that's basically.
Talk about the songs. What songs did you sing in this?
Quite a few. We had a few duets.
You have to give me a little bit and piece of each song.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you have to come see the show to check that out.
Come on.
Which song would you like to hear?
Well, what songs did you sing? And give us a little brief piece of it.
Okay. You Can't Get a Man with a Gun. Okay. Now I've gone and blanked because I've just done the entire show.
Come on.
Okay. And you can't get a hug from a mug with a slug. Oh, you can't get a man with a gun.
Wow. Give me the rest of them. Come on, you have to. Come on, you have to, just quickly.
I won't do all of them.
Please do all of them.
Goodness. Folks are dumb where I come from. They ain't had any learning. Still we're happy as can be.
Do it or what comes that
There we go.
Wow.
This
Come
is
back,
a star.
come
Come
back.
here, little Jake. This here, Jordan, what's your last name?
Busey.
Jordan Busey. This here, little Jake, he's a lovely boy. Watch out for this one.
What comes naturally?
That song's really about people just if they don't have education and they don't know anything, they just do what people just do and just live life regular.
Common sense.
And they do it naturally, right? Like Barry Z.
Yeah, really.
With a mic.
Now, what role does he play?
Little Jake.
My little brother.
Wow. Now, how did you get so into the role that you were able to sing these songs so naturally?
I got to sing these songs so naturally by just thinking of I was actually the character and like being it.
Wow. What about Give My Regards to...
Broadway.
That's the one from this show.
Yeah, right. There's no business
Why
like
don't you
show
give us
business.
a demo, Barry?
Yeah,
I should
please.
give you a demo.
You've seen the show more than
Which
we
one?
have.
How about
Tell us about Falling in Love, Barry.
Falling in Love is...
Wonderful.
Wow. What about There's No... That's it, right?
There's no
the
business
main
like business.
song from the show. There's no business like...
Show business.
Like no business.
I know.
What would you say is the prominent song from the show that everyone knows it from?
I would say either There's No Business Like Show Business or Anything You Can Do. Those are definitely the two. The Anything You Can Do? Anything you can do, I can do better.
I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Yes, you can. Hi, it's Barry Z from Barry Z 1-to-1, talking 1-to-1 with the cast and creator of Mad About the Boy, right?
Glad to be here, Barry.
What is Mad About the Boy about?
It's a musical with gay songs from the 1920s to the present.
It's a gay musical history lesson, right?
Pretty much.
Yep.
And we want to be one-to-one with them, so they should be one-to-one with you by seeing this show.
Yes.
Of course.
Come be 1-to-1.
I thought this show tonight changed the title from Mad About the Boy to Kiss of the Spider Woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Why did I say that? And why do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, because a spider dropped from the ceiling, and I kissed her.
Did you?
She was very gorgeous. She was gorgeous.
She was. How did that happen? Did you rehearse that or pre-arrange that?
Yeah, we paid a couple spiders off to descend from the
Right
ceiling.
at Act 1 finale.
Yeah.
What exactly happened?
The lights came up, and there's a lovely spider smack dab in my face. And, I mean, it's better to acknowledge it because the audience sees it, so why not make it fun and part of the show?
You know who it was? Sheeta Rivera.
Yeah, I know.
Am I right?
You are damn
He's checking on your show here.
I'm see what's going on here. See what's up and coming.
And somebody told her. Somebody told her that this was a performance of Kiss of the Spider Woman.
She was
That's why she showed up.
She was confused,
She
but
also wants to know if she has any royalties due.
we'll talk. We'll negotiate. I mean,
Negotiations are in order.
Okay. And who created her web? Anybody know?
Charlotte?
Charlotte. Charlotte did the web tonight. Because it was Charlotte's web.
She's a great costume designer.
Yes, let me talk to Chip DeFar first. Did I pronounce your name right?
Of course, sure.
Was it shortened from Chip DeFarwoods?
I'm at a loss for words.
Funny, you look Jewish.
Thank you.
right.
It doesn't matter. Let's talk amongst ourselves.
Let's talk to the camera there and to our audience. Okay.
Sure.
This show is incredible. Thank you. It's just incredible. This is my third time here, right?
Yes. You've been here from the beginning, Barry. Yeah.
And I can come back twice more. My husband works in the area.
Come back anytime.
Oh, my God. So tell me about this great show called Mad About the Boy. How did you develop this? How did you do the research for it? How did it come about?
It started at a little theater festival of mine. I threw it together, the first version, within 3 weeks while we were rehearsing it. Somebody else dropped out of the festival, and I had a hole to fill, and I had this knowledge of old songs, gay songs from the 1920s that nobody knew existed. And I said,
How did you know it existed?
because I'm into this old music, and I'm gay, and it had the specialized knowledge, so I said there were gay songs from...
Wait a minute. You're gay for pay, right? Am I right?
No pay. But there were gay songs in the 20s being written in the blues singers in America, in Weimar, Germany, in Cole Porter, Noel Coward. And I said, if we threw this in one show, it would be interesting. So we tried out a really quick prototype for a 50-minute sketch. And Tommy Toon walks in. He's won 9 Tony Awards, and he says, "This, you've really got something here. It's really good. You should develop this into a real show." And I thought it would be fun.
How long ago was this?
I'm losing track of the time, but you were there at a little thing at Shoshama Theater.
I was there.
That's right. And in the meantime, I was doing other things. I did the George M. Cohan show and the Irving Berlin show and stuff, but this was still in the back of my head, and my dad kept saying, do this show again.
Well, I met tonight. How old is he now?
91. He said, I want to see that show, so you better get that show going. So
You didn't charge him a ticket, did you?
no.
What'd you say?
That's a yes.
And we got this wonderful cast. I held some auditions, but some of these people, some showed up randomly for auditions, some were recommended to me, some I had seen at showcases and things or other performances, and they stuck in my head. Maite, I had seen her a couple of years ago in the AMDA showcase. I knew I wanted to work with her someplace. Maite then recommends Toby, and I'll say anyone Maite recommends is fine. Cody came in and just knocked me out on a cold audition, and I said, come star in the show, so sometimes that happens. And we had this wonderful actor who I respect so much, Ray DeModest. He looked at Cody and said, he's on his way. He's got it. He's on his way. And I said, that's good.
So this show is how long in the making?
I'm losing track of the years because we're developing it, workshopping it. But I think we're about where we need to be right now to take it to the next level.
But it's in a period of a 10-year, whatever, inception to performance, right?
Yeah, something like that. The first tryout was done within about 3 weeks, and then I got so busy with the Cohan shows I've been doing all over the country, and the Irving Berlin and the Fanny Bryce shows.
Which I've covered.
Yes, I know. And Seven Little Foys, you've been there for all of our stuff.
I give birth to all these shows, right?
Listen.
Don't laugh too hard because I am overweight.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah, right. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Our wonderful choreographer, Raina Hurt, she's 21, but you covered, when we did our Seven Little Boys, she was on your show. We did like a hour with you, and she was dancing up a storm at 14 in that show.
And now she's doing one on this show.
She's choreographer of this show. First time she's choreographed a show. She's done other shows with me as a singer and actress. She was in the Urban Berlin Ragtime Review and my Seven Little Boys and so on. This time I said, Raina, be the choreographer, and she was brilliant. So
tell me how you did the research for this show, Mad About the Boy. Wait a minute, Chip DeFa's Mad About the Boy.
That's right. Chip DeFa's Mad About the Boy. Barry, I wasn't even trying to. It's just stuff I picked up over the years. I would interview...
From what, from school?
No, I mean, partly from life. Like, I would interview an old jazz musician like Benny Waters, who was way up in years, and he was telling me about going to these Harlem buffet flats and sex circuses, he called them.
What's a buffet flat?
A buffet flat...
Is there food?
Not at all. It was a buffet.
What's so funny?
Not that type of food.
What kind of food?
Well, you can eat.
All I can eat. Was there chicken wings on the menu too? Or chicken?
No, mainly fish.
I see fish, huh? It was a lesbian thing, huh?
I haven't been there. I don't know. I've heard.
Pray tell. We've heard pray tell that, people of all sexual varieties can do literally anything goes.
Was that a Cole Porter song?
Oh, it sure was.
Cole Porter was married to an understanding woman.
But I thought he was gay.
Well, that's why she was understanding.
I see. How understanding?
Oh, very, very understanding. Yeah.
So tell me, Cole Porter was one of your authors of songs, that were performed tonight in tonight's show.
Right. Okay, so Cole Porter, who was as great a songwriter as America's ever produced, wrote countless Broadway hits from Kiss Me Kate to Anything Goes and all that. Okay, he was a gay man all this time. He was married to a woman who knew...
A real woman?
Yes, and she knew this is who he was, and so she was supportive of him as a friendly wife, but knew that sexually he had to fulfill himself with these guys. And so some of the hit songs he wrote were written for specific guys that he loved and stuff like that.
Like?
And, well, some of them weren't famous. Some of them was just a soldier who went off in World War II, and for him he wrote the song You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To.
And that's one of the songs in the show.
It's one of the songs in the show. But also I'd hear these stories like... I was friends with David Cassidy, and David Cassidy's father, Jack Cassidy, who was a dashing, handsome Broadway actor. And
David Cassidy and his brother were on my TV show for Blood Brothers.
Right, absolutely. And while they were on your show, at that same period, I was ghostwriting David's autobiography. But his father,
Jack Cassidy,
who was a dashing, handsome star on Broadway and films and things like that, and was married.
He was gay too, wasn't he?
I was getting to that. His father would go up and entertain Cole Porter, who was an older man. So all these things, there's overlaps from the past to present. In my life, I'd hear these different things from different places and stuff like that. All
right, so tell me all of the songs in the show and who wrote them.
We have a mix of songs. There are some songs going back to Ma Rainey, the original mother of the blues, the first blues singer to record in America. We have a Cole Porter.
I simply adore a secluded corner, my cozy corner in the Ritz Hotel. And I wander each afternoon for tea, cause I like to see the kings and let the queen see me.
We have Noel Coward.
Witty boys, you may sneer at our disintegration. Haughty boys, naughty boys, dear, 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 swooning with affectation.
I wrote some original songs, these songs like Sidekick.
Sidekick, I just wanna be a sidekick.
superhero sidekick. That's the life for me.
And you need to be loved, be happy, and
You need to be loved with that grin on your face. And I have a grin on my face for the whole human race. You need to give love to be happy. And I'm the happiest lad that I know. Gee, I know what you're thinking.
crazy for my baby in a uniform.
Crazy for my baby in a uniform. That patriotic baby of 1, 2, 3. It's good from fore to aft. I wanna bring back the draft to see more guys with that kind of spit and polish and shine.
An ex-gay.
Ex-gay. I'm proud to say that I'm an ex-gay. In every way I'm an ex-gay. I've been thoroughly saved, and I can save you too.
Those are songs I wrote. Some of the blues songs I just adapted and arranged them. But it was nice to know that there were songs of gay rights in Germany in 1930, that Ma Rainey was singing a lesbian number. It's right up here. This is the original ad, Prove It On Me Blues. I mean, the woman is very recognizable even now. And they were advertising that in the black press in the 20s. The white press didn't know it existed. But you asked
I mean, what, gay?
The white press would not have been aware that there were gay songs being done in the 20s by black artists, because these are only being marketed in the black community. But you asked before about a buffet flat. Let me just explain a little clearer. A buffet flat in Harlem, somebody would have a private party at their home. People, they charge admission to the party. In different rooms, they could see a guy having sex with a gal having sex with a gal, a guy having sex with a guy. They could watch or they could participate. And so this older jazz musician who I liked, I was profiling him for a book of mine.
You met him?
Oh, yes.
What was his name?
Benny Waters. I have a chapter on him in my book, Voices of the Jazz Age. And in it, he mentioned, just so casually, just like he'd mentioned at one breath, we were having cutting contests and playing instruments with the other jazz musicians. In the next breath, he'd mention, and we went to these sex circuses, these buffet flats, and he said there was a gal, he says, or a guy, she was a hermaphrodite. She had sex organs of both sexes. The first time I ever met a hermaphrodite, and she was attracted to him, or whatever.
She had hot and cold running water, right?
Absolutely. I said, well, Benny, what did you do? He said, I did my best to please him, her. And I just took it down. He said, back in those days, I had so much sex it burst my appendix, which was a cute.
Wait a minute. Do they have electricity that ran AC, DC then?
He was just accepting of the situation as it was. It wasn't worrying about, do I define it this way or do I define it that way? So when I'd hear these different stories, they'd lodge in my head. He'd tell me something, somebody else would tell me something, and eventually I said, this has never been set down. Nobody had ever made the connection before. I think every major female jazz singer and blues singer had a bisexual or lesbian side. I'd never seen that.
If you bought them something, I mean, were they bisexual?
Barry,
you know that term, bisexual. Buy me something and I'll be bisexual.
Anyway, but all these great artists, from Bessie Smith to Rob Rainey to Billie Holiday, and I'd never seen that noted. So I said, that belongs in there as a little fact, and we want to get these songs, and we want to have fun, but we want to educate people.
I learned so much from the show that it was incredible. First of all, I loved the movie Lady Sings the Blues with Diana Ross, about the life and times of Billie Holiday. I almost said Bessie Smith, and she was also gay, right?
Gay or bisexual. I mean, Bessie Smith had men in her life, but she was also having these romances with the chorus girls. Billie Holiday, in the movie, it's just guys in her life, but in real life, it was her with Tallulah Bankhead. I mean, different, who was a great movie star and stage star in that time. Improbable pairings, you know what I mean? And this is part of our history that sort of got swept under the rug, and I wanted to pull that out. It's just so much a part of our life, and so we want to bring in a little of the history. That's why we have here Tallulah Bankhead's represented on the wall, and
who else?
Marlene Dietrich's up on the wall. Ma Rainey. Ma Rainey. I find this little newspaper article clipping in the 20s saying Ma Rainey was arrested for running a disorderly party with women. Now that's pretty clear in the 1920s.
Wait a minute, pretty clear.
Pretty, yes, but there she was, the Empress of the Blues, running a disorderly party with women, and she gets to make a phone call, and she calls Bessie Smith, who's the greatest rival in among the two blues singers, and Bessie Smith comes to bail her out, and there were rumors from the people and the old timers saying that they had been lovers at one point, as well as being rival blues singers and stuff like that. So it was fascinating to me, this underground history.
Wasn't there an off-Broadway show called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom? Absolutely. What did that discuss or, sum up?
Absolutely. Well, she
was a bottom?
No. She had a hit song called The Black Bottom, but it was also like she was very independent. She would say, if they don't like what I'm doing, they can kiss my black. Anyway, the song.
Black ass.
Whatever. She was, in those days, the blacks were treated very badly, and they used to work on a circuit. They couldn't make the top theaters. They'd work on what they called the Toba circuit, and it was called, officially it stood for Theater Owners Booking Association. It was the Theater Association of the Black Theaters for the black artists, but they called it, the black artists said TOBA stood for Tough on Black Axes, and because they were going to get paid less, they'd be in the worst theaters and stuff like that. But there they were, and it was interesting that I knew old jazz musicians who had worked with them, who had worked with Bessie Smith and Ma Rainey. I knew Freddie Moore, I knew Doc Cheatham, I knew these people who had the inside stories, and they knew.
Were they the Chitlin circuit too?
Yes. But this was even. Sometimes they'd rise above it and get to a moment of recognition of the general public. Bessie Smith got to make a film, but most of it was, playing these black theaters and stuff like that. But I'd hear from these people who worked with her and stuff like that about the chorus girl who tried to commit suicide because Bessie Smith spurned her, and these stories would stay in my head. Her niece was around to recall these stories. Her niece toured with her, the showgirl of the Buffet Flats and the male and the female lovers. And I said, okay, we touch on all this briefly in the show. It's not a history lesson, but I want to have...
Oh, yes, it is a history lesson.
Just a history lesson. I want to have moments for people to say, Cody's irresistible, and look at what Toby's doing, look at what Maite's doing, and look at what whoever is doing, Michael Chiz is doing. I want them to have entertainment for entertainment's sake, and when I wrote this little song, Crazy for My Baby in a Uniform, I said, okay, the dance break will
You wrote that song?
I wrote that song.
I thought it was written years ago.
No, I wrote that song. I said I'm going to have them all dancing, doing a military time step. It'll be just fun entertainment. That's not educational. That's just trying to be entertainment for entertainment's sake. But that it could be a guy writing a song for a friend to star in a military boarding school. Why not?
So this is a gay music history lesson, right?
And it's a fun show. We want it to be both. I want it to be a show anybody can enjoy, gay or straight. We have a wonderful cast, both gay and straight, whatever, just people who are talented. I want it to be entertainment, and I want it to be educational.
Now, there's some personalization with your characters, I should say your actors in this, in the sense that they talk about being gay themselves.
It's a script. They may or may not be gay in real life,
Well, who's gay and who's not?
I don't know if that's up to our personal discretion.
I see. But it seems that your own personal lives are integrated into the show.
Oh, very much so. That's one of the really wonderful things about working with this is there's a lot of material that does hit home in a variety of ways. And it all just really at the end of the day comes down to how much all of these characters in the show love what they're doing, and we love what we do, and how...
And you do it so well.
Thank you. Thematically, everyone in the show, all the characters in the show are trying to define themselves as individuals, as people in this world of chaos and confusion, and I think that's something that a lot of people can really latch on to.
Let's start with you. Tell me your real name, and tell me your stage name, or the name you use in the play, or do you have a name, and the numbers you sing.
My name's Cody Jordan, no stage name. I play Seth Oscar, and I have quite a few. There's Ain't
Nobody's Business, no?
I ain't gonna give nobody none of my jelly roll. What's the next one? I'm trying to think.
How big is that jelly roll?
It varies night to night.
Show to show.
Show to show, it can get bigger.
This jelly roll is sweet, it's surely hard to beat. I know you want it, you can have it, and I ain't gonna give you none.
And I sing, Help, the Girls Are After Me.
Help, oh, the girls are after me. Help, perks, my fatal beauty, that all women crave. You're driving me simple, they'll ruin my dimple.
And then next, there's so many.
Yeah, you have a lot.
There's
That's a lot, huh?
Yeah, there's overall.
You handle all of it?
Yeah, I do it night after night. Like the impeccable thing that we like, this amazing gift that we've been given is the show has about 42 songs in its entirety.
What? 42 songs? I think Cody's part of most of them.
So we've been given a really great, genuinely awesome gift that
From God.
from yeah,
Chip Tafar.
Chip Tafar himself. And so
Theater God.
Oh yes, he is. So we've been given all of this wonderful classic material. Many of
Did you know it was classic material?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
did you know? How old are you? 12?
I'm 23. Thank you very much. I've been around.
How do you? I'm sure you've been around and around. No, but that's a song too, right?
Been around.
Been around.
Yeah, been around and around and around and around. But anyway, how are you familiar with this material? You must have done research, right?
For most of the material, I wasn't very familiar with because Chip selected some really wonderful songs that weren't very common. That there was a few of them that didn't even have sheet music written to them. He had someone transcribe them. Sheet music?
No, oh, sheet.
Oh, sheet.
I got it.
What did you do? How did you? Thank you. You're the preacher. You should know.
I am the Reverend William S. Love, and I'm here to save you all from your most damnable homosexual tendencies.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
God be praised. Oh, wait a minute. You said you didn't have sheet music for some of these.
They were transcribed prior to rehearsal.
By who? Helen Keller?
I don't know, Chip. Who did the transcription?
I don't mean Helen Keller, but I mean who did the transcribing?
You get different people to take the numbers down off records because they were never written out of sheet music. The sheet music didn't exist. In some cases, someone went in and recorded, say, a blues song. They may never have written it down. They may have made it up in the studio for all we know, or on a gig, and they made a record. And from that record, and maybe there were a few records with different versions of the song, and I had to create from that a representative version of it, and make an arrangement. So
Are they on disc to this day or no?
We
were these the old Columbia recordings from 100 years ago or what?
Yeah. In some cases, we're talking about blues records that may have been made in the 20s and 30s that no one wrote that song down. And so if we wanted to play it in the show, I had to have somebody take down that melody, and we had to arrange. In some cases, I listened to 3 versions of Sissy Man Blues.
I believe I'll go back home.